much too much. I love you much too much. I've known it from the start, right from the start. But yet my love is such, I can't control my heart. Love you more.
Welcome back. Here we go with the season. 7 games in, 8 for some others. And we're going to talk about all that shit right now on Strike Our Bros with Pablo. And that's my man Lasha over there. What's going on, Lash?
What's up, man? Yesterday made a full week into the season, and a
Yeah,
lot has
7
happened in a
games.
week.
Oh, man.
It's a roller coaster. It goes fast, man. Once you get on it, boom, boom, boom. It goes fast. A lot's happening. We got ABS system seems to be working just the way they intended it to be. We saw a manager on the Twins get fired. Not fired. He got kicked out of the game because he argued balls and strikes, and you're not allowed to do that now that with the ABS system. So, and then, umpires, making calls wrong and, looking like idiots. So, and
It's
then
about
obviously
time.
between, yeah, getting shown up. And then, obviously we'll break down the Mets and the
And what's going
Orioles
on?
and everywhere else is
Yeah.
going on and
The standings
surprise
already.
team in
Yeah, we have to look at the
Miami.
standings already. Yeah. Standings are crazy already. We have to look at them. We have to, it's a litmus test to, kind of see what's happening out there. I mean, it's the same old shit. It's weird for the Mets. It's like same jersey, new
What do you
names,
mean by that?
same problems. You know what I'm saying? What do I mean by that? It's like, okay, I'm starting to
Because
realize
it's
what the
new
problem is. It
players.
took me, I know, and it took me a while to figure it out, but all right. So, I was talking to my dad the other day and I was like, all right, when we lost our first game, you know, we we didn't look well, like we played that first game and it was insane because we went up against Paul Skeens and we were able to like knock him down in the first inning, which was crazy to me. And then listen, I'm not saying that Paul Skeens wasn't there. A lot of bad plays happened. You know what I'm saying? There was a misplayed, fly out there. He was short on it, and then the wind. There was a lot of problems. It wasn't his fault, but the manager made the right decision and got him out of there. We scored 11 runs in that first game. So it was like everybody's like, oh my God, this team is going to be, really incredible. And, the second game, boom, extra innings right away. To a team that we should be mowing down. I don't know. And, we won that series. We lost one. And then we go into St. Louis, we lose two, and it's looking bad. The production isn't there, but I'm starting to realize what it is, and we're gonna talk about that a little later. But the Mets are 3-4 right now, and we'll talk about what I think is wrong with the team and how it's being mismanaged. I don't want to, take it too much time up in the beginning of the show. I want to talk about a little bit of everything, but I have a lot of gripes.
Yeah, man. I saw the ending to that St. Louis game, and that play 9 out of 10 times every outfielder or whoever's running to get that ball is gonna make that play.
I
So
mean,
the
there was
fact
three
of
guys trying to
selling
get
no
that
man's
play.
planned,
Yeah, I mean, he
yeah, no man's
tried.
planned.
Bench tried, man. He tried. You know what I'm saying? He did what any, young guy would do. He
Yeah,
tried
he
to
wants
get
to
in
make a
there.
name for himself and make a
Yeah, I
nice
mean, he
game-ending
has.
catch.
He
I don't
has.
blame him,
He has. I mean,
but
that's another story for another day. We'll talk about that as well. You know what I'm saying?
you
How about
know,
your Orioles? Your Orioles aren't doing so well either, right? Or how they
no.
looking? They're not doing so
Zach
well either.
Eflon is out. He's hurt. The starting pitching is besides Trevor Rogers,
We have
and
the
the
same
offense
record.
is
Yeah, we have the same
yeah.
record.
Their offense. They're hit or miss. One day they score a bunch of runs, and the next day they don't. Today they played Pittsburgh. They fell behind early, and then they just couldn't muster up the offense to come back. Like I said, the pitching is going to be a big problem. Trevor Rogers looks like he's going to be the ace of the team. Kyle Brash, he doesn't seem to be he doesn't have his stuff yet. He's still coming back from injury last year. Uh, Shane Boz, he pitches tomorrow. He will be his second start. He did all right in his first start, but they just didn't get the run support, so he didn't get the win. Eflon is hurt, so something with his elbow or something. So he's getting a second arm or hamstring. I forgot what it is, but anyway, he's getting a second look tomorrow. So he's not going to be in the rotation. They called up Albert Suarez, who was good a couple years ago. So it'll be interesting. But I had a feeling going to season the rotation would be a struggle. But my biggest thing I want to see is how well the offense can produce. Yeah, Alonso had a decent game the other day in the game against Minnesota. He had the game-winning RBI, and he was like 2 for 4, but still striking out a lot, swinging at like in today's game. In his last at bat, there was 3 pitches outside of the zone. He's just swinging it, just like careless, or he just I don't know what it is. I'm like, bro, like it wasn't like a close pitch. You know what I mean? Like it was like low. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? But Peter Alonso's always known for doing that. He's
He
too
likes them low
aggressive
pitches.
sometimes.
No, he likes those low pitches. Those are the ones that he
He
capitalizes
can
on.
lift it up, and yeah, but
Yeah, that's what he does.
in that one game against Minnesota on Sunday, that's how they won that game because he got a pitch that was low, and he literally just like kind of like flung his bat at it, and it just went over the guy, and it worked, but today he just couldn't do it, and there was a man on first, and he got the man on first, and he's the last guy. He hits a home run. It's a tie game. They take the lead at least. They would have been 65. But anyway, the other thing is Gunnarsson, Henderson. He had a home run today. He's gaining. He's doing well. Rutschman he's starting to slowly come back to himself. Hopefully, and then Basao. He's still young and the guys that they got like Taylor Ward, and he hasn't really done much since he came over, but it's still early. It's I'm not hitting the panic button. I just know you go into a season, you already know the deficit. It's like it's just like when you go in to do something, you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. Just like a job, like for example, like on the job, like I know I'm good at teching whatever, so I'm gonna focus on my strength. You know what I mean? Things like that. So your strengths and your weaknesses. It's just in baseball when it comes to your weaknesses is you can't allow your weakness to overtake the team, and because then if you fall behind fast, my rule in baseball is once you're 10 games under 500, your season's over because you're just gonna be playing catch up the whole time, and while you're doing that, everyone else whoever's in the division ahead of you is just continues to win. Even when you do win and they lose, it's still insurmountable for your team to come back.
Yeah, I mean
But
it's hard. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
like you said, right now you're 3 games back already. The Yankees came out the gate. We knew
yeah,
Toronto
they're
was
on
gonna be
fire.
playing well, but they're only 1 game in front of you guys. But the schedules have been weird too. Like the crazy thing is we saw what the Yankees were able to do to San Francisco, and now we go in there. I think they have a little bit of a better team than the Yankees at this point. But the thing is that the Yankees are running it again, so they have chemistry. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what their strengths are, just like you said.
They have a pitching staff. The
They have a
Yankees.
pitching staff. They know what it's like, a repeat cycle. You know what I'm saying? So they already know how to run it. Now the Mets, listen, I can explain to you exactly why, and you said strengths and weaknesses, right? We know what a weakness is. Well, I know. Remember the other day when, Craig was saying in the chat that, who would be the perfect manager for the Mets? And he said that I would be the perfect manager for the Mets. It doesn't take
Yeah,
a rocket science. It's not, it's you know what you have, you're looking at it. Yeah, I guarantee, I'm looking at it from, a different perspective. I'm not in the heat of the battle because I'm not there. I'm not managing it as it happens in real time. But, I'm watching the game and I know what's on the bench. I know what these players' strengths are, and you have to remember that these positional players that you have on the field on day one are the people that won their positions, you know what I'm saying, in spring training. So you have to say to yourself, all right, these guys that didn't make it, all right, I understand you want to be, that guy that, everybody loves and says, all right, even though I didn't win the position, he's allowing me to play in a position for a couple of days straight. Like he gave Young the first base position 2 days in a row. He did it to Vientos, and I don't agree with that. He's taking time from bench in right field by applying different players at the position. I don't agree with that. If these guys won the position, this is the team that you have to put forward every single day to win. Especially after you go 2 days in a row without a W. You can't go into the third game and start Vientos expecting miracles. You know what I'm saying? These players on the bench are situational players. All right. So, for example, you have Tyrone Taylor who's been taking time away from bench. Tyrone Taylor did not win the job. So Tyrone Taylor is now a positional player that, what I'm saying, situational player that comes off the bench. For example, you're down one run, Alvarez gets a hit or he gets a double to lead off the inning. We already know that Tyrone Taylor is way faster than than Alvarez, correct? So you switch them up right there. Now you do a double switch. Now you have to put Terrence in the game if you have to go into that next inning, and you have a faster guy on second that can tie the game up for you. That's a situational player. That's a guy that comes off the bench and does specific things for you when the time comes. You know what I'm saying? When it's needed. Tyrone Taylor can also be that guy that gives a player in the outfield a break, a rest. It's too early in the season to be giving Carson Benja a break. You know what I'm saying? He's a new guy. He has a lot of energy, and he should be able to play the majority of the games out there. The more you play him, the better he'll get. You know what I'm saying? You have Polanco, right? You stated that the reason why you put the team together this way was because you wanted them to be defensively, saying sound to decrease the amount of runs that are being put up by the opposing team, right? So why are you moving Polanco around like that? Why are you switching him up from DH to first and vice versa? You can't do that. All right, listen, you have to figure out who's gonna be the first baseman. It's not Young, it's not Vientos. It's either Beatty or Polanco, and I prefer it be Polanco because we already know that every team needs a utility player, and we just found out that Beatty's that player. You know what I'm saying? And he, I had a lot of problems with him last year, but he started hitting towards the end of the year. He's hitting now. So why are you keeping him out of the lineup? I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? He's your guy. He's gonna be a DH, and he's gonna plug the holes in. He can play first. He can play second. He can play third, and he can play right field, left field, no problem. So he becomes your new Luis Guillorme. You know what I'm saying? He becomes your new McNeil, which is a way better, saying card to play on the field when you're, down. You can't keep Beatty out of the lineup if he's hitting. You can't keep Benj out of the lineup. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a player that's developing. You can't keep swapping. You know, platooning everybody on first base. It doesn't make any sense to me because you need the chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Simeon, Lindor, and Bichette have to know exactly what type of throw needs to, happen for this person on first to be able to catch it. When you get used to, where this person likes it, what the person's capabilities are, you're a better team defensively. This is crazy. Our weakness is our manager. If he's in control of the lineup and he's in control of what's going on, he's completely doing it all wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. This is what's happening. It's happened last year with the third base platoon situation, and now it's happening this year with the first base platoon and the right field platoon. There's no need for that.
Yeah, no, I disagree that it's Mendoza making those choices solely by himself without any influence from the analytics and all that crazy nonsense that they're so gun ho about in baseball.
It's funny
You
because
know,
if it comes to analytics, I don't think it's that analytics because if it was, they would be slotting the right player on the field. All right, we're going. Listen, you have Vientos, you have Beatty. Vientos is a righty and Beatty's a lefty. So against lefties, you would want to put Vientos in, but you know what? Beatty's hitting lefties, so you know what? Don't fuck with it. Don't fuck with it. Just leave it alone. And these players on the bench are situational players. You know what I'm saying? They're there for a reason, not for anything else. They're
yeah,
overusing
no.
the bench, doing too much.
Well, here's my thing. All right, going back to Polanco, right? That guy's playing first base for the first time this year. You need to leave
Understandable.
him there as long as you can. Let him work through his kinks. Let him figure it out.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like riding a bike. You're not gonna get it on the first try. You keep doing
Reps.
it
You need
until you,
reps. You
yeah,
need a lot of
repetitions.
reps. You need a lot
Just
of
like a
reps.
quarterback in football, for him to understand the defense and the plays, he's got to continue calling the same plays, or or
Exactly.
understand the read. But that don't. It drives me crazy in the first week. Oh, they do that the stupid nonsense I call rest roulette. All right, oh, it's your day to rest. Even though
That's
you're okay,
bullshit.
you're hot as
That's
Look at Beatty,
bullshit.
you're hot as freaking fire. Oh, we gotta. But that's what
Resting.
they're doing.
I know, but you
Oh,
know what? Okay,
it's
with
stupid.
with the Luis Robert Jr. situation, all right, he's prone to getting injured, right? All right, so I understand that one. You know what I'm saying? All right, so you
But
give
he's
him
not
three
injured, so
days.
let him
I
play.
know, let him play, but they're trying to warm him up so
Preserve
he can
him.
last longer. You know what I'm saying? Preserve him. Exactly. That's the perfect word. So now, when you know a player's injury prone, maybe he wasn't injured. Maybe he was playing for a shitty team and decided, you know what, I don't want to play for 2 weeks because I'm sick and tired of losing every fucking day. So maybe he claims, he has a little hamstring problem or back issue where you can't really test for that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's the case. But now he's on a team where, we can actually win something. These players have to gel. They need the chemistry. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've been seeing videos of, they keep saying that Lindor and Soto really hate each other. You know what I'm saying? And it's probably because of the money issue. You know what I'm saying? It's a crazy situation. Now, I've noticed a lot of body language and a lot of shit going on the field, and it's kind of crazy. But if this is the case, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to be best friends. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Play well, do what you have to do your job, and let's win the championship. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Keith Hernandez and Gary Carter hated each other. You know what I'm saying? One was a church goer and the other one was a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? So like, understandable. Listen, at the end of the day, they were able to accomplish something together. They don't have to be. You know what I'm saying? Grabbing up each other. They don't have to be hugging up on
You don't
each
have to be
other.
best buds.
Yeah, exactly. You
We're
don't
not
have to
gonna
go
be
out.
brothers.
You don't have to pop bottles after a game. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, man.
No.
You do you, I do me. As long as we connect in the middle, that's what it matters, bro. You know?
Yep, that's the mindset. But it's with baseball, egos get in there so fast because there's so much money involved with these players. It's
I
hard
mean, yeah.
to
I mean,
put away your egos. It's just what it is.
it's
It
it's
sucks.
hard. I mean, it's like okay, you look to your left, you're like, damn, this guy's making a lot more money than I am. You know what I'm saying? But you're not there for that. You have to be happy with what you made. You know what I'm saying? You get paid for what what you're worth, right? That's how they do it in baseball. You get paid your worth, right? Nobody, you don't look around and say everybody's getting $10 an hour here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
this
let's
is not
work
the
together.
regular world.
It's not the regular world. You know what I'm saying? You're like
In
a
Toy
prize
Story
horse.
Land, yes, but in the real world, whether you're the best, whether you have good work ethics or you have poor work ethics, we're still gonna be making $10 an hour. It doesn't matter. So it just so if it's you don't want to think that this guy's mad because he's getting more money than him. So you know what? I'm not gonna try as hard. I hope that's not the case because that'd be pretty stupid. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
at the end of
But
the day, you gotta win, and if that's preventing you from winning games, and that ever gets out, oh my gosh,
yeah, it's stupidity.
just
I mean, it really is. I mean, listen,
yeah. Because you
you're
remember,
getting paid to do a job.
because like remember they said last year he had him and McNeil bumped heads all the time and blah 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 blah.
I believe that. I believe that really happened. You know what I'm saying? And I think they try to, push that shit under the rug. But
Well,
whatever.
yeah, because they
Listen,
had to suppress it. It
if
would
they
look
got rid of,
bad.
yeah, if they got rid of McNeil because of that, it doesn't matter. Because you know what? I didn't like McNeil, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's
They
funny
got
because
rid of
he's
him because they
coming.
had no position. He was not
Nah,
reliable.
he was supposed to be that utility man. You know what I'm saying? Every good team has a guy that can plug the hole. So this way we don't have to look elsewhere right away. You know what I'm saying? You need that guy that can play a decent, position, here and there, like where you don't want him to be super, he can't be Mookie Betts where, Mookie Betts is out, playing left field, then he plays shortstop and he wins a glove, like
Yeah,
there's you need somebody that can plug the hose. Beatty's that guy. And the way he's hitting, you definitely better put him in every single game. If you want to platoon first, platoon Polanco, or make a decision. You know what I'm saying? Is it going to be Beatty? Is it going to be Polanco? And then from there, the other guy's the DH. And then when you need to
yeah.
plug
There you
holes
go.
in, you move Beatty around and then you put Vientos in the DH slot. That's it. It's very simple. You don't have to fuck with with the lineup like that. Put your best foot forward, put the best lineup out, and let them gel and let them figure it out. After a month or two, when you see that you're not getting the numbers, all right, fine. Now we gotta tweak it a little bit. But it's crazy how in the first few games, you noticed that we were getting production from the bottom of the order. You had Benj, you had Beatty, you had Alvarez. Those are the guys that were producing for us. You know what I'm saying? Lindor's getting a little
Mm-hmm.
better. He's waiting for his pitches. He's walking a lot. Soto's been he's the only player that's hit in every single game. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
he's doing his job. He's not hitting with runners on score position. That's the problem. That's why we're not winning these games. And this is why we're not scoring high. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're playing down to these teams. We're ending up in a lot of extra inning games. You know what I'm saying? We're fucking up the bullpen. You know what I'm saying? The rotation has been okay. You know, Senga went out there. I didn't like the way he pitched. He was erratic to me. You know, he had a lot of men on. And, you know, he struck out 9. He went 6. But it was an erratic and confusing game to watch. I didn't like his mechanics. It was just weird. You know, he looked like
He
he was
seemed off.
uncomfortable. Yes, he was off. He was off.
He's still getting over that injury, I think.
He's off. He's off. It was weird. I didn't like it at all. The command. Peralta, the same thing. You know, in the first game, he gave up 2 home runs. It was super windy. I think he gave them up to the same guy twice. You know what I'm saying? To Lowe. Lowe was killing
Yeah,
us.
I think that was
He,
just nerves, in my opinion. I think
yeah, I mean, he'll be better.
he'll be
It was
fine.
super
Yeah.
cold. It was super cold. But, you know, and his second start was a little better. You know, Peterson looked horrible last night. It was bad. It was like, they were hitting the ball really hard, man. I was watching that shit. I was looking forward to watching this game. I was like, okay, we're gonna turn it around. The Yankees went over there. They scraped. We're gonna scrape too. Now we lost by a nice amount of runs, and every time we thought we were gonna do something, they kept scoring runs on us. So it got bad, you know. And then I went from watching it to like not wanting to watch and wanting to listen. It was weird, and I listened, and it got worse. And I was like, all right, and I fell asleep on the game. Whatever. I already knew we were gonna lose. Tonight, McCling is pitching. Hopefully, he can start something. But it's bad right now. I feel like the management. You know what I'm saying? I think it's Mendoza. Mendoza's really fucking us up, man. If he's the guy that's setting up the lineup and shit, thinking it has to be him, man. Out of all the jobs that I'm saying you can possibly give to a manager, I'm saying you took a lot away from him. I'm pretty sure that he has some say in what the lineup is gonna look like. You know what I'm saying, on a daily basis. I don't think that he's just a puppet that says yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and doesn't have any say in anything that's going on. You know,
Yeah, and then everyone's freaking about Bo Bichette too, not
he's been
producing.
horrible. He's been
He
horrible.
you
I mean, he
know
started to hit now. You know
he's
what I'm
starting to
saying?
hit now. He had a good hit the other day. Oh,
This is
yesterday. I
like,
think he had
yeah,
like a double and
yeah.
tied.
Produced some runs.
Whatever.
The day before, he produced the two runs. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
the little bit that we got.
I just drives me crazy when fans panic, bro. It's like we'll all do it because baseball is one of those sports you live and die by the moment. Because every day, you know what I mean. And even though it sounds silly, because the next day there's a new game, so you can forget what happened.
Yeah, but it's not about that. How about you go to the stadium, you spend like $400. You don't want to see your team, die like that. He's swinging at garbage. You know what I'm saying? Men on in scoring position, he's swinging at total garbage. You're like, why did you even swing at that? You know what I'm saying? And you wonder why are you getting paid so much? I mean, a man that hit 313 last year. Does a uniform really change all that? I mean, divisions and all that shit. He has to get used to the pitching. When you're in the same division for a long time, you see the same pitchers a lot, and then you build a tolerance for what they have to offer when they're pitching to you. So like I understand that, different division and him trying to, figure it out. I understand that, but you're still a hitter. You know what I'm saying? You're still a great hitter. You have to, sink in and get it together. That's what spring training is for, to figure out the kinks, right? And for some reason, he just can't figure it out. He's getting a little better. It's getting a little better. But when that lineup decides to, like, really turn it around and they put out the best foot forward, you know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause they need to really figure out the bottom of the lineup. That lineup can be really great. When you start putting, bench players in and you start keeping them in the games for 2, 3 games for a whole series, you're not making any sense doing that. You're not putting your best foot forward. But anyway, what else you want to talk about? The umps are really getting shaken up now. You know what I'm saying? Now that it's like, what are you guys doing? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
It's
I like it
calling.
now. They're getting
I
held
love it.
accountable.
Of course, now you can see it.
So it's like,
They're
geez.
looking stupid out there.
Like so CB so in the on Sunday the Reds versus I forgot who they're playing anyway. Eugenio Suarez was at bat and back to back calls Buckner called strikes and Eugenio Suarez challenged it, both of them. And when you look at these pictures, they were like They weren't even close. You know what I mean? They're like so far off. You know what they need to do, man? They need to put an umpire cam on these guys. I want to see their point of view because we never see their point of view.
I mean, it's
You always
hard. Think
see it.
about it. Now you
I
see
know,
it
but it'd be
sometimes. If you look it
cool
up, you can see it because
on a
it's a
replay. You
really
can.
it's really bad. You know, it's like a really bad view. You know what I'm saying? We all know that there's 1,000 other angles that will work a lot better. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe the call should be coming from behind the pitcher. You know what I'm saying? With super cams, and then that should be relayed to the ump. You know what I'm saying? The home ump shouldn't be calling balls and strikes anymore. That's how I feel because it's a weird position for them. You know, they can be called from a different angle, and then it can get relayed to a earpiece in the ump's. You know,
Well, well, what you're saying, you might as well just get rid of the umpire because you just have the computer that does it. It
no,
just
no, no. But you
comes
need
up
that. You
every
know, no.
pitch.
But you need that. You need that guy there to take control of. The at
Yeah, I
bat and
guess.
take control of the clock and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because that stuff is being controlled by the umps. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
You know what I'm
If
saying? So you need that guy back there. That guy, that's the guy you're looking for. You know, to when the play goes down, you look for the ump.
And in all these calls, it's made a major difference because it's extended the game or inning, and because of that, Baltimore benefited from that. In the game against Minnesota, they had 9 challenges and they won all 9 just about.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
it was a 3-2 count, and the guy called it a strike, and then
No, but you
uh,
need that ump back there. Plus, he's
you
the guy
know,
that,
and
he,
they benefit Baltimore. They took advantage of it. They scored runs.
yeah,
Um, but what were you gonna say?
he keeps track of the balls too. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy that's gonna give you the fresh ball. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy that's gonna be, he facilitates shit, but he
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
have
true.
to.
He gives a hitter a timeout or a catch if he gets whacked in the head.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? He controls that. He can control all that other stuff. He doesn't have to control the balls and strikes. You know what I'm saying? If it's so difficult, you can have an ump, you know what I'm saying, in the eye with a super cam, you know what I'm saying, looking at it and pushing a button, you know what I'm saying, where it's like strike, or he doesn't even have to talk. All he has to do is push the button. Pushes the button, and he gets the
Yeah.
call. That's it. Something simple like that, you know? If you're gonna
If
do
he
that, you're
doesn't
gonna
push a
go.
button, it's a ball. If he pushes a button, it's a strike.
No,
Something
no, he
like
can
that.
push the button. He can push the button, a simple button click, ball, and then the ump is gonna hear it, ball, boom. That's what it is, and then it goes, and that button automatically goes to the scoreboard as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. You can make it real simple. You know. Now you need a fifth umpire. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Make the game better. You know, because it's tapping and
Make
all
it
this
more
shit.
accurate.
Accurate. You know what I'm saying? So this way
You
we
know.
know exactly. So
But
apparently,
also,
okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
What were we gonna say?
No, no,
Apparently,
no.
what?
No, that now when the teams have their screens so they can watch the game, right? They took the strike zone out, so this way they can't, get an edge on calling it in.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Kind
saying?
of
So
like
now we
cheating.
still see it exactly. It's like I work a lot of the games. So when I was in the bullpen, they have they're watching the game in the bullpen, but the bullpen game is 8 second is an 8 second delay. You know what I'm saying? For the same reasons, saying for cheating purposes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because I think it's the manager on the Twins. I think it's Helton or Shelton. I forgot his name, but either way, reason why. So what happened was the Orioles guy. It was top of the. It was the bottom. Yeah, what was it? Either extra innings or top of the ninth with 2 outs, man on first or something, and the umpire called it a ball, and so the Orioles pitcher started to walk off the mound, and as he was walking off the mound, he tapped the top of his head, and the umpire granted him the challenge, and it turned out to be a strike, and the game ended in a strikeout. And so Helton was mad. Shelton was mad, not necessarily because of the balls and strikes, because he felt like the pitcher from the Orioles took Helsley took too long to challenge it because he's like, wait, why did he step off the mound and then challenge it? And but he would if you look at the replay, Helsley tapped his head like immediately. It just in the process of stepping off the mound. So if you're viewing it, it looks like Helsley just kind of like gave up the call, but at the last minute he decided let me tap my head and challenge it. But he did challenge at the right time. He never was fully off the mound, but so that's why he got thrown out, the manager of the Twins. But either way, it's working, man. The umpires are getting held accountable, and some calls are egregious. The one thing I love about the ABS is how like literally you could tell like if a pitch is off by like a second, like if there's like a little pink on the screen, there's like the pink part. If that pink
Yeah, I
part is
was
on the
watching.
box, that means it's a
Counts.
strike.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
ball just grazed that corner of the strike zone. And it's amazing how accurate that is. And you need that. So it works. And I like it. And
No,
it's
I
very
like it
quick.
too.
The challenges are quick. You get it. And the nice thing about baseball is like if you get it right, you don't lose it. So you can challenge as many times as you want. It's just like in football. You can challenge a play as many times. The problem is once you run out until you get to overtime. And if there's overtime or extra innings, then you get another one. But if you don't make it to overtime, then you're screwed. And then what happens is I don't know if you know it's just in games is teams starting to become more strategic, especially if you're down a run. Going later into the game because it's like, do I want to challenge it? Nah, I'm gonna let it go because if I lose it, that's it.
I might need it for later.
You might need it. If it's the seventh inning, you're not gonna, even if you know for sure there was a strike or a ball, you just like there was a guy in the Orioles game today. I was watching against the Pirates. It was a clear ball, but the guy Alexander, he's like, I'm not gonna challenge it because our team is down by a run. I don't need it. We'll save it for a real moment if we really need it. And
I
that
know, but
moment
it's
never
fucked up. But
came.
that's fucked up now. But like
But
I
I
said,
like it. Makes it
if you had the guy
makes
in the
it
back
strategic.
watching it, calling the
Yeah.
strike from back then, that wouldn't happen at all. You know what I'm saying? But this
Well,
is
if
what's
that's the
happening.
case, then you won't have ABS anymore because
No,
now
but you
you
still
have
have
the
it. I mean,
the
you
guys
still
running
have
off the
it.
camera.
I know, but it's good though because that's what they're doing anyway. When they say, the play's fucked up, I don't think that was a strike. They tap and then they have to review it. So if you go straight to the review, if you're going straight to that, you don't have to worry about any of that shit because the batter and the pitcher are both gonna know that the shit hit the strike zone according to the cameras, and there's no reason to challenge anything. You know what I'm saying? But we're always gonna be unhappy. There's always gonna be a way to make things better.
There's always
We're
something to pick at.
there's always something to pick at, right?
It's like a scab.
Exactly. It's crazy. So now
Even if it's healed, you still pick at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But listen, 7 games in, the Yankees are the best in the league right now at 6-1. They won 3 in
Yeah.
a row, so they have a flow going, right? And then you have teams like Houston who lost the first two, then won 5 in a row, so they got a little flow going. You know what I'm saying? It all
Miami's
depends on
five
the
and two.
schedule. Miami's popping right now. Miami's 5-2. They just lost their second game. They're
Yeah.
looking good. They won 5. They're 5-1 at home. You know what I'm saying? And 0-1 away. So they're rolling too. It's funny, that all depends on the schedule. You have to understand that, the schedule sometimes dictates, how you're going to start the season. Now, if you start off the season with Colorado, the White Sox, and the Athletics, then you better be 9-0. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the
Seriously, like
situation. This is how this goes.
two
You know what I'm
losses
saying?
at best.
You know? But now, the Marlins, obviously, they started the season off with the Chicago White Sox, and then, this is how that shit works. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
they didn't start the season with the Chicago White Sox. They're playing the White Sox now. They won 10-0. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it's supposed to go down. You know what I'm saying?
Take advantage of the weak teams, and then
Exactly. You have to
and then
eat. All
measure
right.
yourself against the good teams.
Exactly. You have to eat. You have to eat. Like
Yep. Take
this is how
advantage
it
of it.
works. All right. So they started off the season with the almighty Colorado Rockies. Like I said, they won the first game 2-1, then 4-3, 4-3. You know what I'm saying? And it was a 4-game series on top of that. Was it 1, 2, 3? Yeah. No, it was a 3-game series. I'm sorry. I apologize. But still, though, they were able to, win all 3 there. That's how it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? When you play a weak team, you're supposed to run right over them. But whatever. This is what it is. And then after that, they played the White Sox. Like you can't beat that. So this is why they're where they're at, right? We're gonna get to play those teams too, but I feel like that was a setup to bring a team that wasn't supposed to go anywhere in the division to bring them right up there, and for them to fight their way out of their own bag and shit. It's kind of crazy. They set them up for success. They would have gave the Mets that, and we still have this stupid record that we have now, 3-4. Then there's something wrong with the team. But
Yeah. Yeah. I. Who knows? Like I said, it's still early. They'll figure it out. I'm not gonna hit that panic button. I always wait till I'll wait till like you're 2 months into the season. Then you can kind of get an idea. Like, okay,
Nah, not
we,
too long. Not too long. I figure after the first month, we're gonna see what's happening, depending on what
yeah.
the lineups were looking like and the series you
And
know
remember, the weather's gonna
played.
get warmer, so all these people are panicking about the Mets offense not producing. It's cold still in New York. It takes a while. Once it gets warm, those balls that they hit hard that are not going out now,
Yeah,
they're gonna go out.
I agree.
I think Bichette's gonna be just fine. I think
He's doing
Roberts is
well.
gonna have
He's
a
doing well.
great year. I think he's gonna be a surprise for the Mets. Lindor is Lindor. He starts out slow, gets hot, stays hot. Soto, he had a home run the other day, against the Cardinals where it wrapped around the pole. So I think he'll be fine. It's just way too early to start panicking, and we're so fast to read the press clippings on the New York Post, and it's
You
on the
have
back
to.
page.
You can't make
You
idiot
know.
mistakes. Look what Lindor did the other day. He made a mistake where he thought that was 2 outs.
Oh yes, and he
Steps on the
stepped on the
bag,
base and
didn't
then
didn't
throw it.
throw it first, causing
That's a
Peralta to
rookie error. I
stay
mean,
out there.
dude,
Yeah, I mean stuff like
he
that.
deserved to
Okay,
get killed for that.
yeah, like they were saying on the radio, they were like, you know what, this guy should be fucking, sat down for a day. You know what I'm saying? So this way, everybody knows that you can't make stupid mistakes like that. And then the other day, Simeon too, backpedaling to try to catch the ball, he calls
Backhand catch, yeah.
Robert Jr. off, and then he drops the ball. You know what I'm saying? He should have never called him off. But this is what I'm talking about, the team chemistry. When you work with the same guy, when you look to your left, you look to your right, you're like, all right, those are the guys that I've been working with for a while now. I know what they need. I know exactly where to throw this. I know what he likes. I know what this guy does. We have to be able to communicate. And right now, we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? It's a new team. You need to keep them together. You need them to work together and learn from each other. It's
Yeah. But as far as in the division goes, Atlanta they're 5-2. So far they've had one impressive game that it
Yeah,
was
that
this
was
past
last night.
week.
That was last night, bro.
Well, no,
The
the game I'm
17 to
thinking of
2.
is no, that's not the game I'm thinking of. I'm thinking
Oh,
of the comeback win against the Kansas City. They were down 2-0 going to the ninth, and they scored 6 runs
no, that's
to win
typical
it.
Atlanta, behavior. That's typical.
But it was great because the former Met Dominic Smith came up in the bottom of the ninth and hit a walk off grand slam, and they won. And I think it was like what 1 or 2 outs. I think maybe it was 1 out, and they came back and won. It was such a. I watched the game at work and I was like, "This is amazing,"
Yeah, fuck Dominic
such a
Smith.
good win.
Dominic Smith is a
But
weird dude.
yesterday, Arizona. I don't know what the deals with Arizona because it's crazy to think how a team 2 years ago was in the World Series and now all of a sudden they look like they're back to the old ways where they're just completely terrible. But
Yeah, but
I know
until
they
they
don't
play
have
the Mets
Corbin
next
Burns
week.
yet.
Yeah, when they play the Mets next week, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna sweep the Mets. That's what happens, bro. You know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
know.
San
I don't
Francisco's
know.
gonna.
You gotta take advantage of them.
I mean, listen. What do you think? We're not going out there to try to win. You think we're tanking games and shit? Like that's not what's happening. We're being mismanaged. Is what's happening. You know what I'm saying? We're making some stupid errors. You know what I'm saying? And it's not making sense. But let's say my dad already said I'm not watching shit. So he's not watching tonight's game. I mean, they come out, tonight's game is a 10-15 game. It's going to be hard, for the old man to watch the game. But
Yeah.
I'm going to try my best, I can't wait to get back to New York because we need to get the fuck out of there. I mean, listen, the funny shit was that when we went and we left after that first series at home, I said to myself, all right, now that weather's going to warm up and now we're going to capitalize. We're going to have good fun. You know what I'm saying? Negative. That shit is not happening. St. Louis, for some reason, always owns us. Last year, the same shit happened. I remember because I was working those games and I was watching. I was like, damn, St. Louis has a tough team. For some reason, we just can't beat them. But same shit happened this year. Let's see what happens when Arizona lands. After that, it should get easier because we have the athletics. But, we always play down. So it's going to be extra innings all over the place. You know what I'm saying? We already had 3 extra inning games, and it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not good for the bullpen. It doesn't make any sense when you have so much offensive power on your team and you're not scoring,
Producing. Yeah.
producing at all. You know what I'm saying? You're not clicking. Yeah, we
Yeah,
shall
no,
see.
that is annoying. But you just hope you just hope they can work it out. As the season progresses, it is gonna get warmer.
Yeah, I
That
think
is
the
a
bullpen. I mean,
plus.
the bullpen looks good. You know what I'm saying? Manaya
Bullpen's
is
good.
settling in. Last night he didn't
Devin
look so
Williams
well.
looks good.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? That
He
ball
doesn't have the
moves.
Yankee jitters.
Yeah, it's gonna be
B-
okay. I
The
think.
Yeah, the problem for the Mets is not it's not the bullpen or the starting. It's the fielding blunders. That's what drives me
Yeah.
crazy.
The
Two
pitching is
games in a
okay.
row.
Yeah, the
It's
pitching
like
is okay.
what
I
the
think the
heck?
pitching can get better. But the bloopers, that's what I'm gonna call
Was it
them.
in the Mets game where the pitcher was it the first baseman threw it to the pitcher and the pitcher dropped the ball and then they scored? I forgot. I don't know if it was the Mets game or some other game. Maybe I'm getting. There was a easy routine pitcher to first base or first baseman to the pitcher and the guy
I
went to
think
go
that was
grab it
us.
and he dropped the ball and they scored extra runs and then they lost the game because I think that was against the first game. I don't know what it was. If it was the first game against the Cardinals in the series, one of those games. But it's just like dumb fielding errors that the Mets shouldn't make because, in my opinion, the Mets are a veteran team. So a veteran team like that shouldn't be making those mistakes. So yeah, we can excuse it because it's early in the season, but come on, man, it's just like it's typical players. See ball, get ball, tag the base. Simple
Yeah.
stuff. Hey, you got three guys going out to the outfield. Hey, who's getting the ball? Me, 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 me. Okay, everyone back off and let Benji make, Carson Bench make the play. But, I feel like that play was more so on the other guys than Bench because he's the rookie. I feel like the veteran guy should have taken presence, like, let me get this, handle it, because if he makes that catch, the game goes in overtime, it's a tie game. And then, who knows, you would have scored in the top of the 10th and you could have won that series going into San Francisco feeling good about yourself. But
Exactly.
then,
That's all I wanted.
momentum is huge in baseball. I know every day is different, but it does make a difference.
Nah, you feel
So
good. Listen, when you're hitting the ball, everything looks completely different. Everything is, when you're winning and you're playing well, and you know that everything is falling right into place. It's a different type of energy you bring to the field. When you're like, damn, I went 0 for 3 last night, struck out twice. You know what I'm saying? Can't hit the ball, can't see the ball. You bring that nasty energy into the next game and forget about it. It's over already before it started.
yeah,
It sucks, man. It sucks, bro. But I wish, man, listen, if I could manage the Mets for a month, you know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck who we'd be up against. I would be really good at it. I feel like I miss my calling. I feel like, it's a job that you have to really like step back and look in and say, what am I doing wrong? What's happening here? Why are we losing? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure this guy's losing, sleep over this shit. It's kind of crazy if he's in charge of that.
I wouldn't want to be a manager in today's game because you don't have no say. You don't. They say you do, but you don't. You just the manager's just a fancy title. It has no value. It has no meaning to it because everything is run by numbers. Yeah, you do have some say. I'm sure you might have say in. You don't have say in who you put in the lineup. You might have say in what order you put the lineup in. You know what I mean? But you don't have say. You think he has a say whether he puts in Dominic Smith or
Man, I want
whether
to
he
say
puts
that.
in Beatty or not?
Yeah, I
No.
think he does. I think he does. I think that he's in charge of that. I mean, out of all the jobs the manager has, I think that's the one job he still has. It has to be that way. I
If
don't
that's the
know.
case, then why is Beatty sitting when he's hot as
Because he
heck?
wants to give everybody a shot to fucking play. This is what he's
You
doing.
get
This is
your
what he
chance
did
to play
last
when
year.
the guy cools down. That's how I would do it.
Yeah,
All
of
right,
course. That's how
wait
it's
till the guy
supposed to
gets.
be.
Sorry, you gotta wait. Wait your turn.
No,
You
it's
know
not. You gotta play better. Period. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you didn't win the
that too.
job. You didn't win the fucking job. It's not your position. You know what I'm saying? Like, get
Yeah.
out of here with that shit. You know? Why you calling me, telling me, oh, you're not gonna play today because Lasha's gonna take his slot, even though Lasha didn't win the position. We were both fighting for the same
Well, he
position.
ain't done, or he's
And at
not
the
doing
end of
much.
spring training, you called me into your office and you told me, guess what, buddy? You're the
You're
starting
it.
first baseman. You're it. You're the man we chose. You outplayed this guy in spring training. We like your at bats. We like the way you move over here. This is your job. Thank you, sir. And then
Mhm.
next thing you know, after 2 games, you're fucking DHing. Like, what the fuck is going on? That shit is crazy. It's so crazy. And I think he's gonna be the downfall of this team. Think about it. A team like this with Buck Showalter right now, we would be fucking 7-0.
Buck.
If he was truly in charge of that lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he
Well, because
blind?
Buck, he's earned the reputation. He's earned the respect. So they're gonna let him have more. He's gonna
I
have
don't
more
think so. I
say.
think
Just like,
this is why he got
yeah,
fired most likely. I think this is why he didn't.
he probably didn't get. Yeah, well, he got. They let him go because he want to have more say, and he's not a fan. He uses numbers when he needs it, but he's more about going with my gut feelings and going with what works, not this analytic nonsense. It's just like in college football with these with all these guys in the transfer portal. Why would I want to coach in college football? The guy's not going to stay. He's going to leave within a year, so I have no control over the guy for the next 4 years. If he doesn't like the way he's going to leave because I benched him after one day. It's just the point. Why am I going to coach? Same thing with baseball. Why am I going to yeah, I might have some say, but what I say doesn't carry weight in going into my decision. It's this majority. I say 90% of the decision is based on the computers, and 10% is based on the manager having say, and also the GM is also involved in the decision in who goes and who's not. Because remember, he's the one that paid all these guys.
Put the team together. I know, but this is exactly what I'm saying. So there's some type of miscommunication going on, right? Because if you got Stearns picking these players right out of this pool, and they're like, all right, this is the guy that's gonna work for us. You know what drove me crazy? This is what really drove me crazy, right? So we're playing against San Francisco. San Francisco gives Luis Arez, you know what I'm saying, a 1-year contract. This fucking guy is hitting like a maniac, He gets, he raped the Mets last night, And it's crazy, bro, because that could have been our first baseman. Are you telling me that if you would have had Luis Arez on first, you know what I'm saying, you would be swapping him in and out when he's fucking hitting like a maniac? He gets a triple to start the game, and then he continues to hit hard. You know what I'm saying? Granted, it was Peterson, and Peterson wasn't doing his job last night, but Luis Arez is a maniac. He's a hit machine, and I'm sick that we didn't pick him up. I'm sick that we didn't pick him up. It's crazy to me. I'm glad we didn't get rid of Beatty because the rumor was that when we tried to get Luis Robert Jr. Last year at the trade deadline, they it didn't pan through because they wanted Beatty, and we were really adamant about not getting rid of him. So I'm glad he stuck around because he ended up being something really special. We need him because he's our true utility player right now at the moment. The only thing he ain't doing is pitching and catching, man. He's doing everything, and he's hitting the ball. Let's keep baiting the lineup every single day until he falls off. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing that, you're not doing something right.
No, definitely. So the other thing in baseball, Shohei Ohtani made his first appearance
Yeah, he did
on
well
the
too.
mound, and he had a great outing in a 4-1 win. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts. He was 1 for 3, I think, with 2 walks, or 2 for 3 with 2 walks. But he was looked back to his old form. Granted, it's Cleveland. Cleveland's not a terrible team, but he looked like he didn't miss a beat, even though he was gone for a year as far as not pitching. So, for them, it's just like, the Dodgers like getting 2 players on at once. It's pretty amazing. And so now having him in the rotation is really gonna make it more challenging.
Yeah, doing well. Listen, that team
pitching
added pieces, and it's pretty much the same team. So obviously they keep adding, and they're gonna get better and better. It's not like a huge transitional period where you have 4 new players on the team. And it's all different. They're gonna steamroll. And they're gonna do well. Look, they scored 36 runs and they've only allowed 23. So, it's a good differential. You know what I'm saying? That's 13 runs, It's crazy. Atlanta is really raking because they scored 41 runs and they've only allowed 14. That's a 27 run differential.
And then
that's pretty
Houston
much
scored 45. They have a plus 13 differential, and then the Yankees, they're plus 24. They're 32-8. 32 runs scored and 8 allowed.
Yeah, this is how you win baseball. This is what the Mets were supposed to be doing. Because defensively, saying sound team where run prevention type defense bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and this is why in baseball, see, I always say there's 2 things that with baseball. You coming out to a strong record and having a big lead in your division is a plus because when you do hit a rut in the middle of the road,
you have slack,
or you're just not producing, you can get away with it because the other teams are so far behind you. They're not going to gain much ground on you. But if you start out too slow, it's gonna be hard to come start. It's gonna be hard to catch up to whoever's in your division, unless you're in a
Yeah,
really
I mean,
bad division, which in baseball is really not. There's really not a bad division in baseball. In my opinion, every division is good. You know,
to some
every
to a certain extent, I know what you're saying.
yeah,
Like I said, listen, if the schedule is set up in that way where they were like, all right, the Marlins aren't that good this year, so we're gonna set them up, with the worst teams first. So this way they can, trample, and then they're gonna be sitting on top of the standings, and then we're gonna give the teams that are a little better, saying harder matchups. So this way they have to really fight to stay on top of the standings. It's kind of like a handicap in golf, you know what I'm saying? So like, I may be better than you, so I'm gonna give you 5 strokes. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of situation. That's what it's looking like.
yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It's like
So
giving you a head start. Like
exactly,
when they did the
yeah,
race when they had that really fast guy run, and they let the guy go, the participant go first before the other guy starts. You know,
exactly. Because they know that, what I'm saying, it's a handicap. It's a handicap. That's what it is. It's kind of crazy. But I'll guarantee you, you would have given the Mets that Marlin schedule, then the standings would look a little different. You know what I'm saying? We can have fun with those games. We can say, all right, this team is trash, but it's funny because the Mets always play down. So I don't know. I don't know if that's 100% true.
they played down to their competition.
Yes, they do. They do that shit. They definitely
I
do.
this is why this is why I'm glad the Marlins are playing the Yankees, because I want to see if if they're gonna be. I know they're not gonna be a winning record, but I want to see if they're gonna be a tough out,
I
because
mean,
that's gonna make it hard for Atlanta.
I
It's
mean,
gonna make it hard for the
but look what
Mets.
happened.
It's gonna make it
The
hard for the
Yankees,
Phillies.
the Marlins are trash because look, they're playing the Yankees and they lost today 8-2. The Yankees beat them 8-2. So we know,
Yeah,
we already know this is what the Yankees are supposed to do. All right, the Marlins are up and coming. Yeah, give them a couple of years, maybe they'll do something. They spend a little money, they can look a little decent. But right now at the moment, they're not the team that we should be worried about, and that's not the team that should be on top of the standings. When you see a team like the Yankees and they destroy you 8-2, all right, now you're playing a real team. You know what I'm saying? You're playing a real team that, has some good luck last year and they're gonna try to repeat it. They got, and they have better pitching this year. Let's see what happens. But this is not supposed to be happening to a team that spent all this money and put together a really good team on paper. When you look at it, you're like, damn, that's a really good team. I would love to be on that team. But it's not happening the way it's supposed to. But
well, with the Yankees, they're Max Fried looks like he's back to his old self, and Cam Schlittler, the guy they bought up from the farm, he's been great, and then they got Garrett Cole, and then Rodon if he gets together. That's 4 good pitchers they have. So that's gonna be a dangerous rotation to deal with, and the back end of their bullpen is good too. Bednar's back. I think. Well, I think his name is Dotel, the guy they got from San Francisco. He's still there, so he's their eighth inning guy. Um, and on all these guys are producing. Stanton's doing pretty well for them. Judge is always going to do what he's going to do. You don't have to worry about Judge.
only if it's the playoffs.
It's only the playoffs or major moments.
Yeah, he can't, he's not
I
clutch. But
don't know
it's
what it
okay though.
is.
He's not
That's
clutch. That's what
okay.
it is. It's okay because he's gonna get you there. Now you have to figure out what you're gonna do. It's like,
But the fans don't want to hear that. We don't.
of
We
course
know
they
you're
don't
going
want
to
to
do good
hear
in the
that.
regular season. We want you to do well in the postseason. Okay, and
Nobody wants
I'm
to hear that shit.
Yeah, who's starting to feel that pressure switching to sports is in basketball with the Knicks. Everyone knows that the Knicks are good. They know they're gonna be making the regular season. The question is, can they produce when they get to the NBA playoffs? Saying they're getting the same pressure the Yankees are getting. You know, Same thing with the Cowboys in football. Every year they're good in the regular season, but then when the postseason comes, they poop the bed.
Yeah, well,
And New York, it's tenfold magnified because the Mets have the same pressure too. They know that everyone knows the Mets are gonna be good. They're gonna be up there at the top of the NL East. The question is, can you produce in the postseason? Because they showed us against Milwaukee a couple years ago. All right, they're there for real. They can do it. They got the team. They got the lineup. They got the pitching staff. They couldn't get over that one hurdle. And then last year, everything went south fast. And it's just, so this year they look a lot better. They have a better team. The Mets, better lineup. They have a really good rotation. That's in the top three. You could match them up with the Dodgers or the Yankees. I say those three teams have the best rotation. if you look at it from top to bottom, in my opinion, all three teams have a true ace. You know, so you should. Why should you? There's no reason why the Mets should not be in the playoffs this year. And not only that, not only should you be in the playoffs, there's no reason why they shouldn't go far in the playoffs. The only reason why they don't go far is because of the offense. Or they, I don't think these base blunder issues are going to continue. It's just early in the season. Mental errors. Lindor's not going to do that again. He's a pro. It just when it happens, you just like you bash your head like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I mean it's
That's
hard.
what's frustrating from a Mets fan point. I'm not a Mets fan, but I watch the games, and what frustrates me is the way they lose. They lose because of fielding errors. They like, they should have won the series against. They should have swept the Cardinals. Yesterday's game, they should have won that game. Or not yesterday's game, the day before, Wednesday, whatever it was. They should have won that game. But the other issue is not scoring with runners in scoring position. That's another problem the Mets are having.
That's a serious problem. But it's okay.
Yeah,
Let's talk about who did well this week. We got a pitcher and a hit of the
yeah.
week. You know what I'm saying? So let's see.
So
Let's talk about that right now.
So it's funny because this guy I'm gonna mention, it's just like Milwaukee, man. They get rid of Burns, no problem. They got Peralta. They get rid of Peralta, no problem.
No
You bring in
problem.
Mazeroski. So this week's um, gunslinger of the week is Jacob Mazeroski of the Milwaukee Brewers, and uh, on March 26th versus the White Sox in a 14-2 win, he pitched 5 innings, allowed 2 hits, 1 earned run, and 11 strikeouts. They're like the Rays in the sense that they get rid of big players and they just keep finding
Yeah, they know how
no-name
to do
guys
it.
to just produce.
Yeah, the farm is amazing over there. It really is.
Yeah,
The
I
farm
don't
is
know what
amazing. It's always been that. It's always been.
something's good in that Milwaukee water because these guys just they lose stars, they let them go. All right, you want to go
Yeah,
somewhere else? Go ahead.
it's true. I don't know how
Go
the
to New
fuck they
York, go to Arizona, no problem. We'll be fine without you. And you know,
and they're really fine without them. That's crazy. It doesn't make any
yeah,
sense. When they have so many pieces and shit, it's crazy. I would never get rid of Peralta. Listen, I
no,
want to win a championship. I'm like, all right, now I have both of these guys, but no, they got rid of him. It's okay. We get to reap the benefits of that, but hopefully he stays healthy and he signs with us. Because if we don't sign, then we lost 2 prospects to this team, and we lost our player as well. So
but
hopefully that works out.
eventually, yeah, but eventually they need to sign, they need to retain one of the players and keep the true ace because Mizorowski is really good, and I think he's gonna be a stud, and you can't let him go. Same thing with the Mets. You're gonna have to re-sign McLean soon before time comes up because he's gonna be a stud, and you don't want to wait for him to hit free agency because if he
But
has,
yeah, let's see what they do.
uh, what's his name? If he has Scott
Peralta,
Boras as his
yeah,
no, if he has Scott Boras as his agent, he's gonna want the whole world, and then you don't want to do that. But anyway, the hitter of the week is Josh Lowe of the Anaheim or Los Angeles Angels. Versus Houston, a 6-2 win. He went 2 for 4, a home run, double, and 3 RBIs in a run. Like I said, it was hard to find these guys because it's just the week just started.
yeah.
So, but anyway, the Mazeroski guy really impressed me, man. I would like to watch one of his games. I'm gonna try to watch next time he pitches because he's gonna be a fun show. He could be like the new Jacob deGrom. Another guy who did great the other day was Jacob deGrom. He had a great outing against Baltimore.
Yeah. I mean, he was
So
he was pushed back too because he had
something
neck
about an injury
issues.
or
Yeah,
yeah,
something like that. Something along those lines. But yeah, you know, another guy I don't miss, but it's working for them over there. That's all that matters.
yeah,
As long as somebody's happy with the guy, I don't care for him. So I don't.
yeah. Texas is all right. They're not doing great, but they're okay. That's a division that's gonna be a toss up division because I view Houston as a team that I didn't realize this. I didn't realize that Carlos Correa is back with Houston this year. I didn't realize. I thought he was still in Minnesota. Um, so he's back with Houston. So who knows how well they're gonna be. The Angels are rebuilding, and then Seattle. They're kind of having a slow start. They did bad against the Yankees, but it is the Yankees. Kyle Riley's kind of starting off slow. Rodriguez, he's been does what he does, but so that division. It could be a 2-team race or 3-team race with Houston, Texas and Seattle, so that might be an interesting division to watch. So it'll be interesting to see how they do.
All right, so it's trivia time. It's a
Oh,
three-part
I like
question.
trivia.
It's
Three
a
parts.
three-part
Oh
question.
boy.
So if you get 2 out of 3, we're golden. And
Okay,
I'll
for the
give you
next
a little
question.
differential too, like so up and downs. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. How old was Nolan Ryan when he got his 5,000th career strikeout? All right, and who was he pitching to when it happened? All right, and how old was he, and what team was he playing for when it happened? So I'll need to know what team he was on when he got his 5,000 strikeout. Who was he pitching to when that
Nolan
happened,
Ryan.
and what team was he on when it happened?
All right, Nolan Ryan. So for you said what was the number again? The
His
strikeout.
5,000th career strikeout.
So I would say he's probably. I'd say he's probably like 31, 32 when it happened.
Okay.
I want to
Yeah.
say the
What?
Houston Astros,
Okay.
and then against. Eef. So this had to be what in the 80s, 70s, 80s,
It's not in the 80s.
80s. Okay. Whoa, geez, I don't know. It's probably someone that I should know. I'm gonna
But
say
definitely, I'll give you a
Ricky
hint.
Henderson.
Holy shit! That's exactly who it was. You
No,
asshole.
I had
That's
to take a
crazy.
guess.
That was
I'm
exactly who. That's crazy. All right. First of all,
really
that's exactly who he was
because
pitching
that's the only
to.
guy I could think of in the
And you know what's
80s.
funny? It's funny because I bumped into this video the other day, right? And I'm watching it. And I'm watching. You can't. They're focusing on Nolan, right? So you can't really see who he's pitching to.
Send me
But then
that
I see
video.
I see the silhouette, and I'm like, that's Ricky, right? So now, what you said that he was playing for the Houston Astros, you were wrong. He was pitching for the
Really?
Texas Rangers, right? So it was
But he
90s. It
played for
wasn't.
the Astros, right?
Yeah, he played for the Astros prior
I
to
think he
that.
played for
So
the Rangers
it
too. I
was the
forgot
90.
about
It was
that.
in the 90s. All right, it was in the
90s.
90s.
Okay. So
So
I'm off
5,000
by a decade.
strikeout. He was playing for the Texas Rangers. He was actually 42 years old. This is
Oh
not
my
your
gosh.
exactly. It's crazy, right? He was
Because most pitchers don't
42.
play that old.
Exactly.
Mariano's the last guy, Rivera.
And you know what's crazy about that? He was 42 when he got that 5,000 strikeout, right? And he was able to collect 700. No, how many more? 714 more after that.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right? So I thought that was an interesting question. You know what I'm saying? So Ricky Henderson was the batter. He got his 5,000 strikeout that night. Fucking, it was crazy. And I watched the video. I was like, holy shit, this guy's 42 years old doing his thing. And the fact that, he got almost 1,000 more after that is insane to me. But that was
Yeah,
it. That
that
was
is
it.
insane.
It's insane, right? So that's
Yeah.
the end of the show. We have a lot of gripes about our teams. They're not doing so well. We have the same exact record. Lasha's a hater. You have to understand that when Lasha loses, he wants the Mets to lose, and he switches channels.
Hey, if I
Like
go
it's like
down,
he switches
everybody
channel.
else is
It
going
has to
down.
go
That's the
down. Yeah,
way
that's
it
what he does.
is.
Not me. We're not like that. All right. So
I'll
there's
take
four of
everybody
us.
with me.
No,
I
let me
don't
explain
care.
something to you. There's four of us in the chat, right? 3 Met
Yeah.
fans and this lonely ass fucking Baltimore
Miserable
Orioles slash
fan.
Atlanta fan, right? And
That's right.
when they lose, he shits on us and he prays our, it's crazy. He's a hater. He's a hater. He wants us to
That's
lose. He
right.
laughs at our debacles. When
That's right.
we root for him, you know what I'm saying? But it's okay though, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we win tonight. We start off the wheel, and McClain is pitching in a few minutes. It's 10:03 right now. In the
Oh
next
yeah, you
12
should be able to win
minutes,
that game.
we're gonna be tuning into that for sure. And hopefully it works out for us tonight, man. And we'll see you soon.
Hey,
You have a good. Don't talk to me.
speaking of streaming, one thing I've noticed with this new change with ESPN, some games are like blacked out, which is weird because like for example, there's at least 3 Orioles games I'm not able to watch, and it's considered blackout, and they were never blacked out on MLB.
You know
When it was
why?
on
I know why.
MLB,
I know
I'm
the
like,
answer to
why the
that.
heck? I don't live in
Because
Baltimore.
there's other sponsors, right? Like other channels like Apple TV and Fox Sports and
Roku.
all. There's a lot of shit going on out there. People are doing. Oh, Netflix is doing that shit too. The first Yankee game was a Netflix exclusive type deal. So
Yeah.
you have to, like they do different avenues now. So they black it out because they want you to focus on the platform that's actually,
Yeah, but
you know.
this game wasn't on the Orioles game wasn't on Apple. It was on MLB.TV. So I was like, what the heck? Why
That's
not?
weird. That's weird.
Yeah, it was really annoying. Now, granted, like the Braves, I had to buy the Braves Vision for $100, so I can watch all the games, which is cool. But the nice thing about that is, well, it's kind of annoying because you can't get the Braves Vision on ESPN. You have to go into the MLB. You know
Yeah,
what I
same with
mean?
the Mets. Same with the Mets. You have to purchase MLB, and then after that, you drop a couple extra dollars if you don't have SNY. So if you don't have like a true cable network at home, you have to spend on that. But whatever. Hey, listen, it's gonna be a long
But
season.
baseball does give you the option to you can watch MLB at bat through MLB.TV through the MLB at bat plus or ESPN. But that's gonna change eventually. It's gonna go switch over to ESPN.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of the games lately. I find it a little bit more interesting, especially because I've been on the move when the games have been going on. So I've been working, I've been tapping
Oh
into,
yeah,
listening
same.
to it. I've been, even at home last night. Like I said, I transitioned from watching it because it was too hard to watch. So I said, you know what? Let me go hit a couple of golf balls in the, other room, and then I'm gonna listen to it. So I listened to it. Then it got really bad. Then I was like, you know what? This is horrible. And then I went back, and then I'm like, fell asleep on it.
Yeah, like yesterday, one nice thing about when the team, like for example, I have an hour drive home. So when I get off work at 9 o'clock, the Braves are in Arizona right now, and it was great because I had something to keep me awake while I'm driving home, so I can listen to the game. I'm interested. I'm imagining myself at the game, and that's one thing I like about baseball. It keeps me awake. So that's the nice thing about the late games because if it was a 7 o'clock game, by the time I get back in the car, the game's already over for
Yeah,
most
your game
part.
is on right now too. You guys are playing
Yeah,
Arizona right now, so you can tune into
yeah.
that too. We'll
I'm
definitely
interested
be
in the
talking
both.
after this. Of course you are. So am I. But
Yeah,
it was a good show.
yeah,
I hope
man.
you
We'll see you next
enjoyed
week.
it, and we'll definitely see you next week. Peace, brother.
Peace.
You keep on